Unit 16, Sport Coaching. Techniques used by an effective coach. In this assignment I will be looking at a range of effective coaching techniques used in different sports and coaching contexts to develop an understanding of how to become an effective coach, which can then be used in later assignments. I will be looking at three main techniques and how effective each is, and how techniques and coaching methods vary from sport to sport and the group the session is being delivered to. Coaches need a wide range of techniques to help improve and develop participants' performance and skills. In order to be a good coach, having a wide range of developed skills means that each session can be tailored and led specifically to the group you as a coach is faced with. For certain groups, or depending on the type of activity, one technique might be better suited than another. For example, coaching a group of people who have visual impairment, demonstration might not be the best suited. And being able to coach through another technique, such as technical instruction, would enable those participating to develop and improve performance. As a coach, having the skills to demonstrate, teach through technical instruction, knowing how to performance profile, having the ability to observe performance and analyse it, as well as set goals accordingly, is all crucial to help improve participants' performance, as well as being able to adapt to each individual person's needs and design an effective program and fitness assessment is fundamental in order to reduce the chance of injury and allow mass participation. In addition, being a model through demonstration, videos or image, as well as stimulates certain conditions in games and log in diaries and evaluate your own and others' coaching and performance will ensure that all participating gain the most out of a single session. On the screen now shows a range of coaching techniques that as a coach you want to be able to develop and improve in to become the best coach possible. So that's from demonstration to observational analysis, stimulation, goal setting, performance profiling, modelling, adaptations, technical instructions, coaching diaries. The first technique I'll be looking at is demonstration, which is the act of showing the set skill. As a coach, having the skill and technique to be able to show demonstration is key in order to help athletes and participants in sport develop and learn new skills. Being able to demonstrate allows those learning to visually see what the skill is meant to look like and develop a mental image of the skill, which helps with muscle memory. To demonstrate well, coaches must be able to show the skill in or as close to a game-like situation as possible, meaning that they know when and how to use the set skill, as well as showing the skill in phases broken down into steps by step, so that those learning can pick it up quicker and easier to develop the correct technique. So, advantages of demonstration. Demonstration is a good technique to use when coaching grassroots or younger players, as they learn through watching, which is linked to the social learning theory. For those more experienced, demonstration might not be as appropriate due to the fact that if the coach can't complete the high-level skill with the perfect technique, bad habits and the wrong understanding might be passed on. Therefore, other techniques might be better suited. In addition, having a larger group might mean that it is hard to demonstrate, as well as keeping everyone alert, concentrated and zoned in on the demonstration whilst it's going on. Having a smaller size group of around 6 people is ideal for demonstration, as it means that they can follow along with the demonstration and they can have a clear view from multiple angles, as well as ask any questions or for stages to be repeated without disrupting the whole group. By using this technique, coaches can also work out whether the participants have understood the task on hand by getting them to copy the demonstration back. This also allows them to work out what's going wrong for themselves. In addition, this is a great way for peer assessment, as they can watch each other's skills and help them to correct each other by pointing out the mistakes and learning from it. So disadvantages of demonstration. On the flip side, there are some issues with this technique, and therefore, as a well-rounded coach, if they experience any of the issues about to be explained, they would be able to select a different, more appropriate technique. Firstly, if the coach can't complete the set skill, this can cause a range of issues, from passing on bad technique, making the skill harder for those learning to watch and understand, as well as being able to copy and imitate. This issue is likely to occur in a school PE lesson whereby the teacher isn't experienced in the set sport, and if it's a specialist sport, for example gymnastics, it might be hard to demonstrate and therefore harder for the children to copy and learn without causing injury or picking up bad techniques. By teaching new skills in the step-by-step form, it's helpful for children and those learning to pick it up quickly with ease. However, this can cause the fluidity of the skill, which is needed when the skill is applied in a game situation, to be lost, and therefore might be unbeneficial to the participant. As a coach, it's about finding the correct balance of breaking it down into the step-by-steps, but also making sure that the fluidity of the move isn't lost, so that once the participants have developed the fundamentals of the skills, they can apply it to a game situation easier. In addition, demonstration can be very hard to do effectively, particularly when showing skills that are linked from another skill. This normally means that there needs to be a feeder. If the participant that is doing the feeding job, in this case like throwing a ball in tennis to hit back a serve, if they're not very sure how to do it or what to do, the demonstration can be slow and not go as planned, and therefore, as a coach, where possible, you need to be able to teach the feeder what to do, show them what to do and give them tips. However, if you're lucky, there might be someone in the group that also knows what to do, and therefore it can make the demonstration go a lot easier, and therefore make it easier for the others to learn. The next technique I will be looking at is observational analysis. This is observing an athlete's performance, a certain skill. It enables coaches to gather objective data that can then be used to analyse the player's performance, as well as help the coach to spot players that have potential. This can be done through video footage or live at a game. It produces evidence based on gameplay or training to help athletes work out areas of improvement as well as what's going well. In addition, it can be used for tactics. There is a range of software that could be used to help track movement and slow down skills to help identify the problematic areas of the skill, which can then be used to develop and work upon that skill. Observational analysis can be very helpful to those more elite and more experienced athletes within the sport, and wouldn't really be used on beginners or younger players due to the fact they might not understand what's going on, and can also be a bit disheartening and make them disengaged as they are ranked against other players, as well as not just seeing what went well. There's a lot of statistics. Observational analysis is great due to the fact it identifies both positives and negatives. Therefore, appropriate targets can be made accordingly, helping to improve performance of the participants. In addition, as a coach coaching a team, gaining details or detailed individual information means that they can work out the team's averages and what needs working on in particular, and what is going well currently, and therefore tailor each training session accordingly, meaning that the team gain the most out of each session. In addition, observational analysis recognises more than just scoring a goal, and it gives value to other aspects of the sport. For example, in football, it helps praise and award a defender who wouldn't necessarily be scoring all the time, but showing the amount of tackles made to stop the ball getting through for the other team to score. Observational analysis is also effective as you're able to use advanced software to gain information that can then be repeated to see the progress of the team. As a coach, observational analysis can be very helpful when selecting players for a competition or a team, as it helps give factual information, so therefore removes the bias factor when selecting. Observational analysis is widely used in team sports, although it takes more time and money, as more resources is needed, or videos will need to be watched many times over. It is very beneficial for sports such as basketball, as they're able to see the different shots made and also how many of them were successful. Whereas observational analysis wouldn't really be applicable for sports that don't have a standard or set criteria, which are more subjective. For example, sports such as dance, it's more about the quality rather than the quantity, like how many of one move was made. In addition, in sports that have very little movement and is very repetitive and fast moving, like table tennis, it can be very hard to conduct. There is also some disadvantages of observational analysis. Some disadvantages are that it can be very time consuming, especially for a team, and many observers are needed to gather the information. Using specialist software or companies can increase the cost and can be very expensive for the most reliable, accurate, detailed data. However, this can also be done by other team members to make it less costly. However, the results might not be as good. The reliability of the data can vary, especially when done manually. There can be human error. In addition, if conducted by other teammates, results could be biased. The data also only tells you what and not why. Observational analysis is about quantity rather than the quality, which means that although there is a certain performance criteria, it's only shown lots of the technique is off and is it aiding the team. The final technique I'm going to be looking at is adapting to individual needs, which is about differentiation and creating a variety of levels about a certain skill within a session. As a coach, it is vital in order to allow mass participation, as well as allowing all in the session to develop and improve at their own pace in a way that suits them. When coaching, you may not know much about the people participating in the session prior, and therefore knowing ways to change up a program and how to adapt it as needed quickly is vital to keep everyone engaged and the session running smoothly. Within a group, the ability of those participating is likely to vary, and therefore having a range of variation on a set skill enables participants to choose one which fits them best in order for them to improve. For example, when teaching a dig in volleyball, having different variations helps to keep everyone focused on the task. This can be modified for those who are excelling in the skill by having to create a rally with someone else, or by the distance or speed they have to hit the ball. This can help prepare them for a game-like situation. On the other hand, this skill can be made easier by using different types of balls and not having to self-feed the ball and having someone else feed it to them, therefore not having to focus on more than one thing and just focusing on developing the skill. Likewise, when teaching, there might be injuries or impairments, and as a coach, being able to adapt quickly enables the session to carry on running smoothly. However, it is also about being tactile and making sure that everyone has selected the right variation and hasn't selected one too easy or too hard to be the best. For example, in volleyball, someone who has a bad wrist could complete the dig motion first without a ball, and then complete it one-handed using a lighter ball, so it doesn't cause injury, but means that they're still participating. They could also coach and give technique tips to others completing the dig. As a coach, you may have to adapt to many different things, from ability, speed of progression, the confidence within the group and as an individual, motivation levels, gender, complexity of the learning focus, the size group, learning styles, safety, equipment and the age. Activities can also be adapted by changing up the conditions, for example, the speed, pace, sizing, equipment used, rally, distance covered, near or far, or self or partner feedings, as well as where the ball is fed from or to. Additionally, creating game-like situations, for example, adding a defender, can make the activity harder or easier in some cases. For some sporting activities, adapting can be easy and straightforward without altering the exercises too much. However, some sports it can be harder to adapt and might need more planning, which can be difficult when placed on the spot. The technique might this technique might be picked over another due to the fact that it allows mass participation and everyone is able to develop at their own pace, and is about inclusion rather about being the best. This technique can be very effective due to the fact it allows everyone to learn and get something from each session. It helps people to progress at their own pace and feel like they're doing something for themselves rather than just kept being told and moved on without actually learning the skill properly. And it also means that other people aren't being held back and people don't have to feel bad or feel like they have to rush and just say they get it when they don't, because they can go at their own pace. It gives each player an autonomy, which is where they can pick the level they are and they're able to decide their own ability to either push themselves further and have that risk factor, or take it slightly easier and not push themselves as hard but then work on the technique and stuff. But it is about finding that balance. As the coach, you need to make sure that that balance is found. On the reverse, if you as the coach, if you're not as familiar with the type of skill, it can be very hard to adapt to suit everybody and therefore make the session hard to run. It can cause people to have to wait for others to learn and can cause the session to run unsmoothly. In addition, there is only so much adaptation that can be done to keep the lesson focused on the whole group and not just on certain individuals. Trying to adapt to skills so that everyone can partake is the main objective. However, having to change the skills so much can cause confusion and hard to then apply in a game. Also, when in a game situation, to allow everyone to partake and the conditions of the game might have to be changed, and this can slow down other people's learning. For example, when playing football, some coaches add the rule that everyone must have a pass before you can shoot for a goal. This can cause the game to lose its feel and the fluidity. And if some people aren't as bothered, it can take up vulnerable learning time of those who are wanting to play. However, this adaptation of the game means that those who aren't necessarily the best player but are wanting to play get a chance to. Within the session, there are many time restrictions, making it hard to adapt everything and keep it into the time. Showing off the different options can take up a lot of time and take up the participants' practicing time. So if the skill is more complex, that's going to take even longer, and being a complex skill, that can be a challenge to adapt on its own. Within the groups, there can be defensive learners. These people think that their way is right and are not willing to change. This could mean that they don't want to change the game's rules to allow others to participate, as well as thinking that they are really good at what they're doing, and that as a coach can then be hard to tell them that they need to change what they're doing or maybe move down a variation level to get the most out of the session.